Every week I meet small business owners who have a capable team, and yet their small business can't run without them. And they're not sure if it's a people issue or if the reason their business can't run without them is because of their processes and systems. So, having worked with thousands of teams to systemize their operations, I thought it'd be kind of fun to break down the 7 signs that it is process, not anything else, that is actually fucking over your business success. I don't know if I'm allowed to say fucking over, but fuck. All right, too late now. Now, speaking of cursing, if you are frequently cursing because of the mistakes that happen in your business, that is sign number 1 that you've got a process breakdown. There's no mistakes here, just happy little accidents. And that might be true, but it is also true that if we don't learn from history, we're doomed to repeat it. So if we want to stop repeating our mistakes, we need to record and learn from our mistakes. I have a simple practice you can do for doing that up in the video at the top. I will also drop it in the description down below this video. So click on the description, you can see all those links. But speaking of dropping things, the second sign that your processes are your problem or about to be your problem is that when balls are dropped, you are the one to pick them up. So if you ever have the sensation where everyone has their job, but if something's not clear, you just do it, that is a process breakdown. Now, this is a really common occurrence if you are someone who's used to working with freelancers or gig workers, where you're just giving them specific actions to do, and that's it. Specific actions are amazing, but it makes you a bottleneck. Everything has to come to you and then be delegated out. If we want to have a business that doesn't have everything coming to you, we need to start delegating authority and responsibility rather than just tasks. Now, there are a lot of different ways to delegate authority and responsibility to your team, but there's a really simple method I have found work best for my clients, and it's in the description below within a masterclass called The Blueprint. For not only my whole approach to systemizing business, but it has a key section on how the process org chart can allow you to define these responsibilities, and it just makes your life so much easier. So if you really want to get this done, check out the free video in the description below. Now, speaking of getting things done, if your top priorities for your business, your strategic initiatives, your big goals, your big vision, if those things are not getting done in your team, you are likely also facing the symptoms of a broken process. This time, not on the responsibility side, but on the prioritization side. The fact is, we all have a finite amount of time. We can do one thing, then the next, then the next. Multitasking doesn't really work. So if we want to accomplish anything big, we need to know what the priority is. When your top priority is not lining up with your team's top priority, don't be surprised when progress isn't moving like you'd expect. Fortunately, like with all of these processes, there's a small adjustment you can make to get your priorities aligned, and I cover that in this video up here. That will really help you get focused and make sure the things that really truly matter get done. However, don't get too excited there, because if you are a team that only gets the new and shiny and exciting things done, that is equally, if not more, dangerous. And I've seen this far too many times where there are CEOs with such force of will that their priority is dictated on the team. Not that any of us have ever done that. And then the important core work, the day-to-day operations, the client work, the taxes, the boring stuff gets ignored. In fact, we've found from our own information at ProcessDriven that around 60 to 80% of any team's activities is going to be the routine, boring, day-to-day work that keeps the lights on. So if that 60 to 80% is getting ignored so that you can launch your podcast or create your book or whatever else is next, that is a problem, because that is a recipe for the business ceasing to exist. To fix this hyperfixation on new and shiny stuff, because I know we're all guilty of it, I would suggest you start tracking how your time is being spent. For example, here's what the dashboard looks like for ProcessDriven, where we track the categories of work we do. I talk more about it in this video up top, or if you just want to steal our exact one, become a client of ours and we will get you all set up. Info in the description below. Now, the next symptom to watch out for is I can't delegate to anyone without them screwing me over. And if that sounds like you, the fix I would have is called therapy, and it's really good. That's it on this one. Yeah, that's a process, but not, I can't help you with that one. Okay, anyway, the next one to check out is that you have the best structures, the SOPs, the dashboards. You have all of the infrastructure anyone might need, and yet your team is not using them. Well, remember this guy? Yeah. If you happen to remember this cultural icon, you might notice that even though this person made some incredible art, it was technically quite simple, because what this person was all about was making sure that you were involved in the painting process. This is what we want to be doing for our systems and processes. We don't want to be handing someone the Mona Lisa and a brush and saying, hey, look, I made this perfect SOP. Keep it up to date. Because they won't. No one is going to start touching up the Mona Lisa, right? Like, they're not going to do it. There's too much inhibition there, fear, all of that stuff. No. We don't want any of that. You're almost better off making things worse and then having a team member fix it, because that will get you buy-in. And just to warn you, buy-in or lack thereof is the reason most systems project fails, because no one feels like they have any authorship of it other than you. And so no one uses it other than you, which is the only person that doesn't really need to use it. So fix that by watching this video up here, or just stop making SOPs and process equipment for your team. Make it their job because it is their tool. And once again, if you're like, oh my God, my team doesn't have the knowledge to take ownership of this, that's what we can help with, just so you know. The last warning sign that you may have a process problem that you're trying to treat for something other than what it is, if you start using the word integrator. Yeah, if you use that buzzword, it's likely you've been sipping some Kool-Aid that tells you, hey, nagging people to get shit done in your business is a job that you should outsource. And while I largely agree that you shouldn't be spending your time reminding and pestering people to get work done, I want you to keep in mind that that phrase was popularized in a pre-AI and arguably pre-automation era where most of the work that small business was doing was being done manually. And so the popularization was saying, hey, you should have a person that's not you be in charge of all this operation stuff. I agree with that. But in 2025, 6, 7, 8, 10, and beyond, 10, we're past 10, for this era and beyond, delegation doesn't have to look like a full-time role. And so if you find yourself starting to think, I just need to hire somebody to wrangle all of this shit, please hit pause. Because you do need to delegate this work, but it doesn't necessarily need to be to a human. I've seen far too many people hire full-time project managers to do the job of a robot. That makes a very unsatisfied and unfulfilled project manager. It makes a very unprofitable business, and it makes a very slow operation. You're paying someone 40 hours a week to do something that could be done in 4 hours. Project managers are skilled professionals. Let's use them for things that actually require a brain, not just reminding people to do their due dates. I have a strong opinion on this, if you couldn't tell. So what is the process fix here? Take the things that you are going to have this integrator do, and as much as possible, decentralize them, meaning each person on the team is responsible for themselves, or eliminate them, or automate them using AI agents, automations, or templates. Once you've done those three things and you're like, done, we've done as much as we can here, by all means, create an operations role, or better yet, hire an operator to do these things. I'm not exaggerating when I say I've seen clients turn 40 and 80 hours of project management into 4 hours of human management by just following these practices and using their noggins before just throwing labor at the problem. I do not want to see you be another team who hires an operations person, have them work as if they were a robot, and then blame the whole operations industry that they didn't do anything creative, because you're setting them up for failure. And we deserve better, and you deserve better. That's why if you really want a business that can run without you, it starts with these 7 practices, these common symptoms that when fixed can give you a business that can run without your manual intervention. And remember, everything I talked about in this video, all the links, all the resources, all the good stuff is found in the description below for your perusal. Thanks so much for watching, and enjoy the process.